else.
You once said that teaching's about seduction.
Yes,
That's
I did.
been kind of the story of your professional life. Like it's the reason you have Johnny Depp on the stage. It's the reason you make movies with Dawkins, because you're trying to engage with people.
You're trying to engage. And by seduction, I mean the good aspect. Namely, what I said before, if I want you to be engaged, I have to ask, what are you interested in? Not what am I interested in, but what's going to hook you in enough to listen? And we all do it. And so the act of selling, teaching, anything is seduction in that sense. And that's why it's worthwhile having a discussion about weird aspects of the way the brain works with Johnny Depp. Why? Because people want to see Johnny Depp. But then we can have a discussion about creativity and madness and in an open way and get people thinking about it. Or as I say, a movie with a great soundtrack with Richard Dawkins or any of the other things we try and do. They may seem sometimes like artificial hooks, but if people are more interested in the personalities and in the modern world they are, then I love the fact that, and one of the reasons why I decided to do this podcast is that I can have people like him or Ricky Gervais on, and then Noam Chomsky on, and I mean one of the first podcasts we had in the studio together, although we did separate podcasts, we had Noam Chomsky and Penn Jillette, the magician, and had them in the studio together. And we even did a little bonus of 15 minutes together. And I thought, how are we going to do this? And the fact, those are two people I never would have thought would be in the same room. And what I love about it, and by the way, that you can see on YouTube for free, that clip, is that in that 15 minutes, it ends with a joke. And who tells a joke? It's Noam Chomsky. It's the first time I've ever seen him tell a joke on that. And so, but anyway, I love the juxtaposition that you don't need to label people. We all label each other, but that cultured people can be interested in science. And of course it's accepted and maybe expected that scientists should be, although some people say those nerds don't know anything, okay? But still, to be accepted socially, scientists have to know about current movies or music, and it's something we want to do. And so being culturally aware for a scientist is kind of a badge of honor. But for some reason, being scientifically aware for a cultural icon isn't.
Right.
And there should be no difference. There should be no difference. And interestingly enough, I remember I was in India, and I was at an event with the president of India. And what was that event? That was when the president of India was answering physics questions from high school students. Right? At the time, W. Bush was president of the United States, and I just thought the contrast was too much not to be recognized.
You don't like any American presidents.
Look, I suspect. I mean, being a politician is automatically limits you. I'm disappointed in many ways about what Obama wasn't able to do, but I certainly admired many aspects of what he was trying to do. So it's not that I don't like any American presidents. I just think the buffoon that we have now is an embarrassment to the world.
Gotcha.
No, it's more than just embarrassment. It's a danger when you have this populist demagogue who has no interest in anything but himself and no knowledge of anything, literally does not want to understand anything, just uses people to be able to exploit and see himself more on TV. It's a danger to the world.
And shuns the science. That's what
not just shuns the science. I guess shuns. Of course he shuns the science, but it's just discards it if necessary. I mean, all things are means to an end, and in his end, it's just himself. And he's very effective at distracting. That's what Noam actually talked about in our podcast. One of the things is what Trump does so effectively is distract from the important issues, and the newspapers. And I'm unfortunately incredibly disappointed with journalism, because all the economic problems that newspapers are having and cable channels is this competition, because of the internet and other things, is to get clicks or to get watchers. And that means they have to look for clickbait or some salacious stories that will get viewers. And Trump is a wonderful salacious story, and focusing on his faux pas or his stupid statements or anything else distracts from climate change, distracts from all the infrastructure needs in the United States, from real immigration issues. So what Trump effectively has done is monopolize the news and distract not just government from taking any action, which has happened, but the public from being even interested in this, because the newspapers and TV focus on just this ridiculous man and what is he going to do next.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, and then the only last thing that the scientific method gave me was just the numbers. You know, it wasn't my opinion, it wasn't showmanship. It was always back to the numbers, and it was.
And ultimately, it's numbers. Ultimately, I mean, there's mathematical reasoning, and again, most people, but we can all reason. I mean, you don't have. First of all, what people don't realize is you don't have to be a mathematical wizard to be a great scientist. I have a number of colleagues of mine who have won Nobel Prizes in physics who were not the best in their class in mathematics. I mean, I've had a lot of kids write me and say, you know, I'm fascinated by this stuff, but I'm not the best. Mathematics-wise, I'm just not the best, and I feel like I shouldn't go into this. So you don't need to be a math. You have to be willing to work hard enough to be able to master enough to be able to do it. But it takes all types to be a scientist, pictorial types, creative thinking, all sorts of things. But also we have this notion that it's okay to be enumerate, and people really have the ability, if you spend a little bit of time, to just teach people how to do estimates. It's not beyond, it's not a mystery. We accept that people are enumerate, but they don't have to be. And I'm sure you've had this experience, but now, of course, because of calculators, and now that's old, but you know, I go into a grocery store, and you know, when I buy something that's, you know, and I'm estimating, you know, it's going to be about $15, and the bill comes to $150, I say, I think there's something wrong with your calculation. The person say, can't, the calculator, you know. But of course, what they're doing is they've pressed something wrong in the calculator. You can simply estimate basic things that people don't even do. Okay, so I mean, for me, I have fun because I try and beat the adding machine in the grocery store to guess what the total is, because I like numbers. But you don't have to just do that. You can work with numbers in a basic way, and we accept innumeracy in a way that we don't accept illiteracy.